Hello, I'm Craig Brailsford, and welcome to another episode of Small Stocks, Big Money. For those of you new to the show, RedChip is an investor relations, media, and research firm focused on emerging growth companies. Our unique platform combines global multimedia with traditional investor relations, reaching investors around the world. Now, today's show features interviews with the executives of two public companies. First up is bioAffinity Technologies. bioAffinity addresses the urgent need for non-invasive, accurate, early-stage cancer diagnosis and broad-spectrum cancer treatments. Lung cancer is the leading cause of cancer-related deaths. The company's first product, Cypath Lung, improves early-stage detection of lung cancer, leading to increased survival, fewer unnecessary invasive procedures, reduced patient anxiety, and lower medical costs. Cypath Lung, a laboratory-developed test, is patient-friendly and physician-focused. Physicians order Cypath Lung for their patients after lung cancer screening or other imaging reveals a suspicious finding. Patients collect their sample at home and ship overnight in a prepaid envelope to the company's commercial laboratory, Precision Pathology Laboratory Services, where data is collected using flow cytometry. Proprietary automated data analysis, developed using artificial intelligence, detects lung cancer by analyzing the lung's microenvironment to identify cell populations that indicate malignancy. Cypath Lung has shown high sensitivity, 92%, high specificity, 87%, and high accuracy, 88%, in detecting early-stage lung cancer in patients with small pulmonary nodules less than 20 millimeters. Research and optimization of the company's platform technologies are conducted in its laboratories at Precision Pathology. We'll learn more when we speak with the CEO later in the show. Up next is ASP Isotopes. ASP Isotopes is an advanced materials company dedicated to the development of technology and processes to produce isotopes for use in various industries. The company employs proprietary technology, the aerodynamic separation process, to produce and commercialize highly enriched isotopes for the healthcare and technology industries. The company also plans to enrich isotopes for the nuclear energy sector using quantum enrichment technology that the company is developing. We'll learn more when we speak with the CEO later in the show. Now, before we move forward, let's take a look at RedChat, a revolutionary AI chatbot for small cap stock analysis.
For 32 years, RedChip has been discovering tomorrow's blue chips today with early research on Starbucks, Celsius, Daktronics, Winnebago, and more. Now we bring you RedChat, an innovative AI solution which gives you answers in seconds on over 2,000 small cap stocks listed on the New York Stock Exchange and the NASDAQ. Visit redchip.com today and use RedChat, your AI small cap assistant. RedChat.
Now, let's move on to our quote of the week. It comes from the book, Small Stocks, Big Money. Invest in something you can get your arms around and be very conservative. Own enough stocks so that you are not putting all your eggs in one basket. This quote comes from Dave Maley of the Ariel Discovery Fund, and it is featured in Chapter 5 of Small Stocks, Big Money, a book of exclusive interviews with some of the biggest players in the microcap space. Get a digital copy on Amazon today for just $18. Now, let's get started with our first interview today with bioAffinity Technologies. Maria, thanks for coming from San Antonio all the way to Orlando again. Great to see you again. Now, we just want to hear the basics. bioAffinity, what is it? What do you do?
Thank you, first of all, for inviting me. So bioAffinity is marketing now a commercial test for the early detection of lung cancer, which is, of course, the leading cancer killer, unfortunately, in the U.S. We offer convenient at-home collection for our patients. It's a non-invasive test, and it also has very high performance. And what that means is that it is a test that has high sensitivity and high specificity for a market that is growing, unfortunately, and one that is very large. bioAffinity also is developing other tests, primarily in the pulmonary marketplace. Two tests that come to mind are for COPD and asthma in precision diagnostics to determine the next step in care after you've been diagnosed with COPD or asthma.
Maria, lung cancer, as you said, remains the leading cause of cancer-related deaths worldwide, and it is often because it is diagnosed too late. How does your flagship product, Cypath Lung, change the landscape for early detection?
So Cypath Lung is a test that can find very early stage lung cancer. And finding lung cancer at early stage is key to a longer, healthier life. Cypath Lung, which is our non-invasive test, can detect lung cancer at that early stage when treatments are most effective. It is important in two ways. So one is that it has very high sensitivity. So if you do have lung cancer, it can determine that there is cancer in the lung. The second is it can also tell you if you have a benign nodule. So most often people who have small nodules, they don't have lung cancer, but they still pose a problem to physicians as to what to do next. And our test is another tool that says, yes, there is cancer in the lung, or no, there is not.
Now, can you tell me how Cypath Lung works from a patient's point of view, Maria?
Certainly. So a physician, your physician, if you were a patient, would order Cypath Lung because perhaps he or she has found a suspicious lung nodule. And you would receive, I have this, a simple kit. It's just a simple box, and inside there is a collection cup. What we ask patients to do after they get this cup is to collect sputum, which is the mucus in the lung. Now, most of our patients are people who are at high risk for lung cancer. So producing sputum is not an issue. And they collect at home in the privacy of their home. They have lots of support. We have a patient coach who works with them. We have videos. We have instructional materials. And that really is the key to finding this, to getting a good sample, is the work that they do. And then the end of the collection, they simply put the kit back into a pre-addressed, prepaid envelope, and it's shipped overnight to the lab where we produce the result in 2 days. Your doctors, usually 2 or 3 days, will have your result.
That's fascinating, Maria. I want to dive more, though, into how your test saves patients and the healthcare system money.
Certainly. So last year, 2 pulmonologists, practicing one at the Brooke Army Medical Hospital, which is the Department of Defense's largest military hospital system, and also at Audie Murphy, their medical VA. These 2 physicians looked at the savings that can be accomplished when Cypath Lung is put into the standard of care. And they found that individual savings on an individual patient basis of $2,700 per patient, just for Medicare patients. They found for people who had commercial insurance that it was much higher. It was $6,400 per patient. And that really spelled significant healthcare system savings for the Medicare system of $370 million, and for the private payers, close to $900 million.
You know, Maria, that is an impressive amount of savings, and I'm sure that that would be important to government healthcare systems, which brings to mind the fact that you've secured a U.S. federal supply schedule contract that's making Cypath Lung available to veterans and federal healthcare patients. Could you give us some updates on that milestone?
Certainly, certainly. So obviously, the cost of things and cost savings is extremely important at this time, particularly to government. We received the federal supply contract late last year, and it does allow us to sell Cypath Lung to the federal marketplace. We see the VA as probably our largest market there. It certainly helps us when talking to physicians and to hospital systems, and we're really targeting those systems that have large lung cancer screening programs, and many of them do. But it helps us not only to have those cost savings that we can talk about, but also the fact that this test has high performance and can really help to determine whether whether our vets have lung cancer or they do not.
Now, Maria, you recently announced cost savings for your CAP-CLIA commercial laboratory that is going to continue to drive profitability and growth. What drove those cost savings?
So as every well-run business must do, we've taken a hard and a very strategic look at operations at our subsidiary, Precision Pathology Laboratory Services. Precision offers Cypath Lung, but it also has been offering more than 100 other tests and pathology services, largely in the Texas market. We recently announced that we will be taking these actions to improve financial performance and to accelerate the commercial growth of Cypath Lung. We expect these measures to deliver approximately just about $4 million in cost savings at our subsidiary, while increasing, of course, the resources that we need to expand Cypath Lung as our sales grow. Our commercial focus is really on high margin services, and that led us to discontinue certain pathology services with suboptimal profit margins, and thus, with that, gave us cost savings.
Now, Maria, what's driving the growth of Cypath Lung, and how do you see revenue trends evolving?
So we're forecasting accelerated growth both in the Texas market, in the VA market, and in key strategic regional markets in the U.S. this year in 2025. We see ever-increasing peer-to-peer introductions, and we're very pleased to see the sharing of cases in which Cypath Lung, the results have really made a difference, whether it be a cancer diagnosis or whether it's an avoidance of an unnecessary procedure. I invite our listeners to go to cypathlung.com and to look at these very moving case studies where Cypath Lung has made a difference. Our sales team is very experienced and certainly will be sharing these peer-to-peer stories. And we have operational capacity, which we're very excited to have, to continue an ever-increasing sales into the future.
In summary, Maria, for the investors out there, what is the essential value proposition? Why should investors take an interest in bioAffinity right now?
So with year-over-year sales growth, Cypath Lung remains the very focal point of our commercial strategy. We forecast accelerating Cypath Lung sales growth in strategic national markets in 2025. We include expanding into the U.S. veterans market and healthcare system as well. We have a strong management team, including board members who have brought multiple companies from startup to impressive exits. In fact, Dr. Jamie Platt led teams that sold companies like ours with novel tests, and each of the 2 deals she worked on and she led were valued each at $500 million. Cypath Lung is a platform technology, and that's important to keep in mind because we will be developing tests with huge markets, not only lung cancer, which is our commercial market now, but we're developing tests for COPD and asthma, and those will be more precision medicine tests. We've already announced our collaborative work with the Department of Defense, and we expect not only to continue that work, but also to enhance that collaboration over the coming years. I think bioAffinity has a very strong future, and I invite investors to watch us grow in 2025.
It's a great story, Maria, and thank you again for telling it, and welcome again to Orlando.
Thank you very much.
Now, to get more information on bioAffinity technologies, visit biafinfo.com. You'll see research reports, fact sheets, presentations, and the latest videos. It's all free, and you can even subscribe to email alerts to stay on top of the latest news. You can also call 1-800-RedChip to speak to a specialist if you have any questions. We also have a free weekly newsletter you can subscribe to at redchip.com, featuring emerging growth companies like bioAffinity Technologies. Now, let's move on to our next interview today with ASP Isotopes. Hello, today we have Paul Mann, CEO of ASP Isotopes, trading on the NASDAQ under the ticker ASPI. Paul, welcome back to the show.
Thank you, Craig. Great to be back.
ASP Isotopes is leading innovation in isotope enrichment with proprietary technology. Can you share the vision behind the company and what makes your approach unique in the market?
We founded the company about 3.5, 4 years ago with the idea that the world was in, isotopes have always been in a supply side shortage, a challenging supply chain, and there were lots of new uses for isotopes. And we found a group of South African scientists who had developed many different ways to enrich isotopes. So we basically acquired them out of business rescue. We funded the company with a lot of capital over the last couple of years, and we built 3 manufacturing plants to produce isotopes the world needs in the future to enable technologies such as quantum computing, artificial intelligence, next generation medicines, and nuclear energy.
Paul, ASP Isotopes recently began commercial production of enriched carbon-14. Can you elaborate on the significance of this milestone and its expected impact on your revenue growth?
Yes, so we started our carbon-14 plant up recently. We actually finished the construction of it about a year ago, but our feedstock, which is a very specialized feedstock, was delayed in its shipment to us from Canada. So carbon-14 is used in the production of new drugs and agrochemicals. And again, there's always been a supply side shortage of this isotope. And so it's great for us now to be able to start this plant up and start enriching carbon-14 for the market. It's our first isotope plant we started up, and the first batch should take about 120 days to run. And hopefully that means we'll be selling the product around the middle of the year. We've signed a take or pay contract with a Canadian customer for a minimum of $2.5 million a year. But they could take more than that, we'll see. But right now, take up minimum $2.5 million a year.
Your partnership with TerraPower, founded by Bill Gates, is a major validation of the capabilities of ASP Isotopes. What does this collaboration mean for the company, and what are the next steps in developing the HALEU production facility?
So we've actually signed 2 MOUs with American-based SMR, small modular reactor companies, one of which is TerraPower, the other we haven't disclosed. And what I think it suggests is that TerraPower see us as being able to get HALEU to the market sooner than anyone else. And if we wanted to build a HALEU plant in the United States, it'd probably take us 10 years just to get the permit to build that facility. South Africa is very unique in that it has a location which used to enrich uranium, has a nuclear reactor on the site, and we have access to that site in order to enrich uranium there. So this is a major milestone for our company. HALEU is the biggest commercial opportunity we have in our portfolio by a long shot. And in terms of the next steps of developing a HALEU production facility, we need to go through the licensing process and the regulatory process, and then we'll start to build the plant. But our plants are pretty quick to build, so hopefully we'll have HALEU this decade.
You've secured contracts for silicon-28, which is critical for quantum computing and advanced semiconductors. Can you explain how ASP Isotopes is positioned to capitalize on that growing market?
Yes, so silicon-28 is a very unique isotope in that it can enable next generation semiconductors. Semiconductors are expected to be thousands of fold faster if you use silicon-28. And there aren't really many producers of enriched silicon-28, just Rosatom, which is the Russian government, and ourselves. So there's a lot of interest in this from semiconductor companies, industrial gas companies, and quantum computing companies. So we started that plant up last week. It's starting to do commercial production, and we'd expect to supply our first product deliveries during the second quarter. But longer term, this could be a really large opportunity for us if quantum computing and advanced semiconductors and AI take off in the way analysts think it will.
Paul, ASP Isotopes has raised significant capital and maintains a strong cash position. How does this financial strength support your expansion and commercialization efforts?
Yes, we do maintain a very strong cash position. We finished last year with over $60 million of cash on our balance sheet, and we need that capital to build additional plants to build plants for things like germanium, gadolinium, nickel 64, and obviously a HALEU plant as well. So having this financial strength helps us a lot. We also have customers who are willing to pay for plants as well. And so again, that helps our commercialization efforts as well.
Paul, what milestones should investors be expecting in 2025?
Well, the most important milestones is for us starting up our 3 plants and turning them into producing commercial products. So all 3 plants have started up and they're in the process of enriching isotopes. And we'd expect to supply product to the market from those during the course of this year. And if we can do that, that should allow the company to get to cash flow break even during the second half of the year, and then start to drive significant amounts of free cash flow and build new plants. So there's a lot of milestones this year, mainly in terms of starting new plants up and starting to build more plants for the future.
Final question, Paul. What's the essential value proposition? Why should an investor take an interest in ASP Isotopes right now?
Well, ASP Isotopes is solving a number of problems that the world needs to solve in order to enable future technologies such as quantum computing, such as advanced semiconductors, such as nuclear power, green nuclear power, and medical isotopes to cure diseases like cancer. So we're developing products to enable those technologies. And if we're successful in doing that, we should be able to generate a significant amount of return for our investors. And so we think that's the main value proposition.
Paul, it's a great story. We love helping you tell it. Thanks for being with us today.
Thanks for your interest, Craig. It's great to see you again.
Now, to get more information on ASP Isotopes, visit aspiinfo.com. You'll see research reports, fact sheets, presentations, and the latest videos. It's all free, and you can even subscribe to email alerts to stay on top of the latest news. You can also call 1-800-RedChip to speak to a specialist if you have any questions. We also have a free weekly newsletter you can subscribe to at redchip.com, featuring emerging growth companies like ASP Isotopes. Watch this show again and explore hundreds of small cap stock videos on RedChip's YouTube channel. Also, go to our website and sign up on our events page for the webinar series. We have webinars every week, several a week, in which we feature small public companies, mostly client companies, and you'll hear straight from the CEO, and you'll be able to ask questions after that. Again, visit redchip.com and subscribe today. In addition to our newsletter, you can order Small Stocks, Big Money. This is a book written by RedChip's CEO, featuring interviews with some of the biggest players in the microcap space. Get a digital copy on Amazon for $18. Now, let's recap the companies featured today. First, you met bioAffinity Technologies, BIAF, on the NASDAQ. bioAffinity Technologies addresses the urgent need for non-invasive, accurate, early-stage cancer diagnosis and broad-spectrum cancer treatments. Lung cancer is the leading cause of cancer-related deaths. The company's first product, Cypath Lung, improves early-stage detection of lung cancer, leading to increased survival, fewer unnecessary invasive procedures, reduced patient anxiety, and lower medical costs. Cypath Lung, a laboratory-developed test, is patient-friendly and physician-focused. Physicians order Cypath Lung for their patients after lung cancer screening or other imaging reveals a suspicious finding. Patients collect their sample at home and ship overnight in a prepaid envelope to the company's commercial laboratory, Precision Pathology Laboratory Services, where data is collected using flow cytometry, proprietary automated data analysis developed using artificial intelligence detects lung cancer by analyzing the lung microenvironment to identify cell populations that indicate malignancy. Cypath Lung has shown high sensitivity, 92%, high specificity, 87%, and high accuracy, 88%, in detecting early-stage lung cancer in patients with small pulmonary nodules less than 20 millimeters. Research and optimization of the company's platform technologies are conducted in its laboratories at Precision Pathology. Learn more at www.biafinfo.com. Then you met ASP Isotopes, ASPI, on the NASDAQ. ASP Isotopes is an advanced materials company dedicated to the development of technology and processes to produce isotopes for use in various industries. The company employs proprietary technology, the aerodynamic separation process, to produce and commercialize highly enriched isotopes for the healthcare and technology industries. The company also plans to enrich isotopes for the nuclear energy sector using quantum enrichment technology that the company is developing. Learn more at www.aspiinfo.com. Don't forget to check out our stocks page. It is the biggest small-cap stock portal in the industry. It has every company listed on the NASDAQ or New York Stock Exchange with a market cap of $2 billion or less. And it's categorized by industries. Watch this show again and explore hundreds of small-cap stock videos on RedChip's YouTube channel. And be sure to sign up for our weekly newsletter and learn about a lot of small-cap companies. Also, go to our website and sign up on our events page for the webinar series. We have webinars every week, several a week, in which we feature small public companies, mostly client companies, and you'll hear straight from the CEO, and you'll be able to ask questions after that. Again, if you have any questions about any of our public companies featured on today's show, call us at 1-800-RedChip or email us at info@redchip.com. In closing, remember, while small caps can provide significant gains, you must be prepared for the downside. Small cap stocks are among the most volatile of asset classes. Some of the companies featured on this show are RedChip client companies, and we may own stock in these companies, so please always read our disclosures at redchip.com. Thank you for being with us today. We'll see you next week with some new, exciting, emerging growth companies.